Hello, and welcome to episode 195 of Checkpoint Chat. My name is Alessandro Barbosa. I'm joined by Matthew Figuera, as always.
Hello.
Hi. How you doing?
What a time to be alive.
Is it though?
Yeah. What do you mean?
I mean, it's a Saturday.
It is Saturday, and it's quite deceiving because it looks cold, but it's actually not that cold outside.
It's a bit like the past 2 days. It's looked like threatening to rain in winter again type of weather, but it's been okay.
It's been weirdly warm, which makes me think we are on that. On that
Don't trick yourself into that. Don't do it.
On that trend back to spring.
Don't do
I know. August is going to have 1 or 2 cold fronts, and it's going to be windy
very quickly. Yeah.
But God, I'm so over winter.
Oh, me too. Yeah, me too.
This is I'm pretty sure I've spoken about this in a previous episode, and this just lets you know how old I'm getting. But God damn, I'm turning into that old person who just moans about the weather all the time.
I know the feel, man.
I don't want to be
horrible.
that person. I don't like being that person.
It's awful. The good thing is that we can kind of see like light at the end of the tunnel. Like literally
days
there's
are getting longer.
Light. Yes, like I can tell driving home from work, there's more light.
Yeah.
Later on in the evenings, which is real nice. It's not like 5:30 and almost pitch dark already. It's now like only 6 o'clock and it's
imagine the life of me and my team where we finish work at 6 and we in summer you leave at 6 like wow it's so bright still. In winter like oh my god it's so dark.
Oh my god, I should be getting into bed. I just need to crowl into bed real quick.
Yeah, it's difficult. Life's hard.
No, it's awful. I hate that. I could never live in a country where they have those 3-month long it's always dark days periods.
That would mess with my head.
Oh, completely. I would not cope with that at all. Not even remotely. So yeah.
Not even working remotely.
At least it's not that. Yeah, not even that. I would like to live in like a European city or even like Cape Town where in summer the sun only goes down at like 8-9. That seems like a vibe.
That would blow my mind because even I remember, I don't know how old I was, but at some stage, every person learns that, oh, hey, the sun goes down at different times around the world, depending on where you are, obviously. So imagine my shock when I saw like, oh, in Italy, for example, the sun only goes down at like midnight. I mean, I thumbsuck that, but it is that vibe of, that must be so weird. I mean, being...
Cool.
To me, I'm climatized to being Joburg where, okay, in summer the sun goes down at about 7, 7:15, it's evening. And then, you can kind of get ready for bed or the nightlife, whatever you want to do. Imagine being a kid in Italy in summer. I'm just sticking with Italy. I don't know what time the sun actually goes down there. But imagine your bedtime's 7 or 8, whatever. You're young, your parents put you in bed at 8, fall asleep, wake up at 6, the sun's still up. Then you learn about nighttime when you're like a teenager. You can stay up late.
like what is this?
What happened?
What is the sorcery? What if you're in one of those countries where, again, it's probably the same country that has like 3 months of night, but
Italy
have like 3 months of sun, where it's like you see the sun coming
my God,
down.
That's even worse.
It gets close to the horizon and it just starts going back up again. It's like,
that must be so bizarre.
It must be so weird just watching that happen.
You could get a tan in like half the time in those countries.
or in some weeks you
cancer.
see like the sun start rising and then it just goes away again. It's just like goodbye.
The sun just like kisses you in the cheek like good morning. And then
it's like
again.
the sun in Teletubbies. It's busy laughing on the way up and then it just goes back down like immediately.
God. People in
Bye-bye.
Finland and Sweden, Norway cannot unsee the Teletubbies baby now.
How old is the Teletubbies baby? Like,
the actual baby.
Yeah, I'm gonna
hold on. Teletubbies still exists, right?
Baby. Teletubbies sun baby now. Oh my God! Teletubbies sun baby has her own baby.
What do you call that in stars? We have the sun and then a baby sun.
This is from 2019. The Teletubby sun baby has a baby. It was tweeted out. Jessica Smith And in 2019, so 3 years ago, yeah, she was 23, so she's 26 years old.
It must be so weird having that on your CV as your claim to fame. You out there hunting for acting jobs because that's the world you grew up in. And they're like, so hold on, you're the baby from Teletubbies. Like, yeah, that's me. Some of my best work. What have you done since then? A couple of baby impersonations. That's been real good.
Oh my god! Okay, this has put me on the Teletubbies Twitter page because that
Teletubbies has a Twitter page.
Oh my god, this Twitter page is wild. The latest tweet is the yellow Teletubby. Is Lala? I think Lala on this like diamond horse, and the tweet is feeding like Beyonce because I'm that Teletubby. Oh my!
What the hell?
What is this Twitter account?
Oh, I hate to see it.
And then further down, there's a happy birthday tweet to Selena Gomez from the Teletubbies.
That is.
And then, so I'm pretty sure you know of this because you're a TikTok person. But they're like, important reminder: the real TikTok pink sauce is Tubby custard, and there's like a GIF of the custard from Teletubbies, which is in fact pink. This is
I love
wild
that modern day
account. Oh my! Yeah. The worst photoshops I've ever seen. Just like,
but I love...
and apparently all the Teletubbies have star signs. So, wow. Okay, now I found the best one.
Yes, I'm ready.
I'm sending it to you. It is a happy birthday post to Post Malone, and it is Poe with Post Malone's fucking tattoos all over his face.
Hold on. Okay, your face might freeze for this bit while I pull it up. Are you sending it on Discord or where?
Oh my god, this is insane.
Yes. Sorry, audio listeners, you're having the worst time right now.
I mean,
just imagine.
If you know Post Malone, good musician, but he has horrible tattoos on his head. Look at this tweet. Perfect. What is this? This is amazing. I'm following this Twitter account. I love this. Is like one of my new favorites.
Yeah, I'm there. Teletubbies. Let me follow this. I can't believe they've leaned into this.
This is so fucking good. I love this. This could be the whole podcast. Just me going down the Teletubbies rabbit hole.
There's so many.
There's another one with Chris Evans photoshopped into the Teletubbies background. They just say happy birthday to famous people. That's what I'm getting from this Twitter account. Though. I mean,
clever.
Oh my god! There's a Photoshop of Poe as Spider-Man in the No Way Home poster. Oh fuck! I love this Twitter account so much. Yeah. Anyway, the Teletubbies are still alive and well, as indicated by their Twitter account.
That's great.
I would love to know if like anyone's kid. Did you just see the Spider-Man one?
Poderman. That is such a stretch. Oh, that's so funny. I'm retweeting this immediately.
It's too much. I can't. If ever there was an episode you needed to watch on video. Oh
yeah, please pull over the car. You have to see this.
I'm so glad I went down this rabbit hole.
Holy hell! Followed, retweeted.
Oh god! Just continue scrolling. They did a Princess Leia, the Fourth Be With You post, which is equally terrifying.
My god.
Anyway, I would love to know if like there's any like parents that still like have kids who actually watch the Teletubbies. Like I know when I was small, like that, it was fucking huge.
It is huge. I think they still are. It's one of those things where I think we're adults now. We're not in tune with all the kids shows. I have to believe that it is a British show, right? In Britain it's more.
No one but the Brits could invent something so fucking strange.
But here's something I learned when we were in the UK in December. The Postman Pat was on TV playing for my niece, and I was like, damn, they really, this is Postman Pat. This looks really good. It's aged so well. And I looked it up and I realized like, oh, no, they've just never stopped making it. Postman
Oh,
Payday.
it's just like
It's-
always renewed, and
It's got tons of seasons. It just never went away. But I mean, I watched that as a kid, and I just assumed, oh yeah, they're just recycling the episodes. But no. So
Interesting.
Teletubbies has probably got a modern versions of Teletubbies featuring
guess
special
so,
guest
like-
Post Malone and
I mean, it must be in like HD now. Like,
Oh,
do you
yeah.
think they have like, because the whole thing with Teletubbies is like they had like TV screens on their bellies. So do you think those TV screens are like OLEDs
it's
now?
widescreens.
Widescreen OLEDs at
Teletubbies got
144 hertz.
Oh, God.
Imagine you could play video games on a Teletubby stomach. Like,
Do you think that
what
when
that would be
Teletubbies
like.
play games, they plug into each other and just play with each other? Because I mean, what are you going to do? Like, stand in the mirror, look down, and play? You're gonna, you have to face the TV. So just two of them.
just picturing like one of them, like the purple one, going up to the red one and being like, "Hey, I need to play Symphony of the Night.
I
Can
need to do
plug
my
in?
Fortnite daily.
I need a jack in."
God, this is the worst.
Good lord.
Speaking
I
of
would play video
I
games
guess.
on a Teletubby screen, if I could.
Oh
That's
my
all I'll
God.
say. Speaking of video games, dear God, this chick when Chad would talk about video games not played on
Teletubbies.
Teletubby stomachs.
God.
At least not yet. That is
Not
the
yet.
future.
Not yet.
That is the future.
Shut up.
We're going through a
Cyrus.
bit of a let's
not
be
really
real. It's a slow week for us. There were some big releases this past week, like Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Neither of us have code, so boo.
DM me, Nintendo. I'm ready.
I mean,
I'm ready to
even
play
if I had
me
code, I
in
would
the
not
game.
have the time to play that fucking colossal game. Like, I know
I'm
you're
ready.
keen on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know you're super keen on it.
I've got to play it because there's a character based on me. I mean, come on. This character
What do
looks
you
just
mean?
like...
Oh, okay. I thought there was a character named Matthew. I'm like, that's a
No,
strange name
goddamn.
for a Xenoblade character.
It's the most JRPG of JRPGs. Like, we've
Well-
got Sunstruck and Wall Paints and Matthew.
Wall paint.
I
Wall
looked
paint.
up. It was only inspiration I had.
My goodness. I mean,
it's a character with an
to be
afro.
fair, Final Fantasy 16's protagonist is called Clive. So
God, it makes me
So
so
dumb.
mad. Final Fantasy 17, name them Matthew, you cowards.
Jack Garland, Clive. Matthew's next.
Matthew's next. I'm ready. But,
So yeah, we've been catching up on games, or at least so I'm playing something that's under embargo, so I can't talk about it till like fucking 2 weeks from now anyway. So yeah. But what I have been playing on the side is good
Your-
old game from
it's
2018.
your side chick.
my side tile game, Into the Breach.
Nice.
I've been playing again from Subset Games, the makers of FTL, also a really good game. I've played
I
Into the
did
Breach.
not know
a
that those
bunch.
were made by the same people.
Yep, same people. They're both fucking
played-
difficult.
I've played
and
neither.
They're great. Oh, good. FTL's so good. FTL's so good. I mean, Into the Breach is equally good, if not better. But the reason I'm playing again is because it was added to Netflix's growing suite of games, which is really cool because they also just put out some new content across all platforms for free. It's now like
Nice.
the Into the Breach Advanced Edition. It comes with new enemy types, new mission types, I think new pilots and new mechs. And it is mostly geared towards like people who have played a lot of Into the Breach because they are slightly more complex, like
Yeah.
mechanics. So it's really neat that from the get-go, they actually disable all of the new stuff. And they're like, hey, you can enable this if you feel comfortable with, Into the Breach again and, stuff like that. So I actually haven't dabbled with a lot of that because truth be told, I'm terrible at Into the Breach. And even though I own it on like PC and Switch and I've played it a bunch, I'm still bad at it. And coming back to it after a long time, it's almost like learning the game fresh again. So I'm getting to grips with it. I'm playing on my phone and it works like super well on the phone. Yeah, I mean, this was always a game that people were like, this would be great on an iPad, and now it's finally on iPad.
Ooh, I have an iPad.
Yeah, So if you're unfamiliar with what Into the Breach is, it is essentially kaiju chess. I like to think of it as. So you've got a grid, an 8x8 grid. See, chess. Oh wait, chess is
Chess
1, 2,
is
3,
10 by
4.
10, isn't it?
No, it's 8x8. Yeah, 8. Yeah, 8x8. Yeah,
No
I'm correct.
ways. Goddamn.
Yeah, 64 squares. Yeah. So you've got an 8x8 grid. You've got a few like buildings in there. You've got different tile types, which each have different attributes. And then you've got a team of 3 mechs. And at the start of each mission, you choose your placement of your mechs. And then there are big kaiju-like bugs that emerge from the ground with each turn. And they are essentially trying to destroy the buildings or destroy you. And it's a really delicate balancing act of firstly surviving, but more importantly is protecting the civilian buildings, because you have a sort of energy bar on the top that persists between missions. And if that gets to 0, then your run is over. It's a roguelike. And every time a building takes damage, you lose a pip of that energy.
I know.
So it is really tense. Like my strategy is often to like, I will rather risk a mech dying on a mission than taking damage to buildings. Protecting buildings is like paramount. But you've got to be very careful with each of your turns, because you only have 3 mechs. So you only have 1 move phase, 1 attack phase. And you need to both minimize the damage to buildings and also be very clever in how you use your moves to move enemies around the field. So, for example, some attacks will damage enemies, but also move them 1 square, to in the direction that you're attacking.
Yeah.
One of my favorite mechs is an artillery mech where you can attack with it and it will do damage on a direct hit, but also all the squares around it, around the square that you attack, will also be pushed 1 square away.
Okay.
So you can use it almost as you can launch it next to 2 enemies and push them both in 2 opposite directions.
Okay.
And what's neat about it is that during each turn, you see the squares that each enemy is going to attack and in what order they're going to attack. So you can start planning out very intricate strategies where you go like, okay, cool. I'm going to use my mech to push this enemy into this square, which will put him in the line of sight of this other enemy. And because
so
that enemy is attacking first, he's going to kill his friend before he has a chance to actually do damage to this building. Stuff like that.
Nice.
Or like, I'm going to push this other enemy whose attack is just like a straight line charge. And because I pushed him 1 square to the right, he's now going to fall into the water and die.
Damn.
And you've got to... Or like, I can push this enemy onto a block where another enemy is going to emerge the next turn. And not only will he take damage, but he'll block that new enemy from emerging onto the map for a turn. Sure. So it keeps, it's all about like crowd control, utilizing your moves like super, super efficiently. And also just like the order in which you do them. Because like you can move all of your mechs and then only attack afterwards. Or you can move 1 mech, attack, move another mech, attack. And all those permutations will determine where you end up at the end of your turn on the field. So it's very common for you to like, or at least for me, to like look at my current board and just stare at it for a couple of minutes, like playing out all the different permutations. Yeah. Like if I do this is where I'm going to end up at the end of my turn. Where would the enemy possibly go after that type of thing? And that's why it's very much like chess, because chess, as I've discovered this year, as I've played more and more chess with people at work who are actually very good at chess, like I always felt like I could play chess because I knew the rules of chess, but I wasn't playing chess, if that makes sense. Like I was just moving according to what the pieces could do. Now, when I play, I'm thinking moves ahead.
Oh my God, you have
like
to.
A normal chess player. It's like, cool, if I move there, I'm assuming my opponent's going to move there, which means I can do that, and then he'll likely do that. And you sit there and you stare at the board and you play these permutations out, and then you go, okay, that's not going to work. And that's what Into the Breach is. And that's why it tickles the same sort of like really fun portion of my brain that chess does, and I think it's a great game.
Nice.
It's cool because you have 3 islands that you play, and each of the missions reward you with either like points that you can spend on permanent upgrades or more energy to add to your grid so you survive longer. And then there's a final 4th island, and each island is like bookended by a very challenging mission with a sort of like boss kaiju.
Okay.
And each mission, your objective isn't to kill the enemies; it's just to survive number of turns. Yeah. And if you die, then you basically restart. You've got some permanent upgrades. You're also using your experience. You unlock new teams of mechs. So you have different teams of 3 with mechs that do different sorts of damage and have different sorts of attacks. So there's loads of replayability. Like you'll want to complete the game with each sort of team. And now with the advanced edition, you have different sorts of teams and different sorts of upgrades to start fucking around with. So it's very deeply strategic. It's even on its easiest difficulty can be like challenging. I think it's really fucking good. And now, I mean, it's free with Netflix. So you literally just open up Netflix or you search, I think, Into the Breach Netflix on whatever store. And as long as you've got an active subscription, it will just log you in when you open up the game.
So I presume you'd have to have like the Netflix app on your phone. And then
No. It syncs with, like, you just need to log in with your Netflix account, essentially.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
and
cool,
I don't know how many times it needs to do like a phone home, like, are you still subscribed? So, because someone asked me, they were like, could I play this on a plane? And I was like, that's a good question. I actually don't know.
No, I wonder.
Yeah.
I mean, so how that normally works with like the Switch, for example, is if you are sharing a Switch with somebody else, you're doing like game sharing or whatever the hell it is, whatever you want to call it. So one Switch will have to verify, and that verification usually gives you like, I think it's 6 to 8 hours. So
the non-primary Switch needs to verify.
So what I've done is when I've traveled before, it's a thing of I just sync up as I'm getting onto the plane, and I put on flight mode, and then it works. But
then isn't it if you put the Switch in standby, then it needs to re-verify again?
No, it's
once. Okay, that's
it's once, and then it's I think it's like 6 or 8 hours. Still, it might be more, and then So maybe it's the same thing. I don't know where.
Maybe, yeah.
It's like,
I've always had it sometimes on my phone, and then, you close the game, but you don't really close it. But every time I open it, it's like still pinging Netflix to be like, hey, I'm still subscribed or whatever. So, but Netflix is making good moves. They've got a lot of games up on there. Into the Breach is a big one. This week they put Before Your Eyes, which is a really cool indie game that I think a lot of people should play. It's a game with a really hectic story where the story progresses every time you blink. So on PC, it used your webcam to do that. But now I think it's so well suited on phones because phones have cameras. So really nice one. Moonlighters on Netflix. You can play that on your phone and your iPad.
Oh, Moonlighter. That's cool. I played it on Switch earlier this year. Yeah. That's very cool. What a nice little like added bonus. Those are some great games.
And it's just there. Yeah, you got Poinpy from the developer of Downwell, which is fucking phenomenal because hey, that guy knows how to make games. I mean, chances are you're subscribed to Netflix. So this is just free stuff. You don't have to do anything extra except spend a bit of data to download these games. So would advise.
Very nice.
But that's basically mostly what I've been keeping up with. So what have you
to see it.
Been playing this week?
I had the week off, which is great. I played more Monster Hunter, no shock there, but I did dig into 2 backlog games, which is quite cool. So, I mean, I've spoken about Stray before, but I finally finished Stray. I went on to Platinum it because I really enjoyed my time with the game. Like I have some things I would nitpick about the game, let's say, but I still loved it overall. So much so that I went to Platinum it. In fact, I woke up, it was yesterday. I was like, it's my last day off. It's Friday. How many trophies do I have left on Stray? And I was like, let me just start ticking these off. And then once I started that journey. He's like, oh, there's a trophy you have to finish the game in less than 2 hours. Like, I can do that.
Really? That seems
Yeah.
a bit challenging.
No ways. If you know where to go, I mean, my final clock time was 1 hour 31. So
What? That is insane.
So if you, I mean, you play it again. If you were to play it again, you'd be surprised at how quick you'd get around. I mean, there were one or two parts. I was like, I don't remember who to talk to, whatever. But for the most parts, I knew all the puzzles. So it is actually really fun just to speed through that game. And
I mean, I can kind of like envision like, I would know the puzzles, but the game's like not short. You'd still have to kind of like.
I know. So I mean, it's
very like head fast and.
An hour and a half. So you got like 30 minutes for like arsing around. But it was funny because then in that vein, I went and I looked at speedrun.com. I was like, what are people doing this game in? And it turns out Stray is not a very well-run game, maybe because it's not fun to speedrun. I don't know. You probably did a couple times and that's that. So I recorded my playthrough, uploaded it, and I've submitted a run. I'm going to be on the leaderboard there, potentially, if it's verified.
What is the current world record time?
I think so. There's a glitch run which I haven't looked into, but I think people have figured out ways to like clip through. So like for example, there are some items you need to get from a store, for example.
Yes.
I think people have figured out how to clip through that. You can just grab the item without having to prompt it, whatever. But I think if this is off the top of my head, I think it's 1 hour 16.
Even with the glitch.
Yeah.
So glitchless is like not far off the glitched run. Yeah.
No, so glitchless is like an extra 15 minutes. I mean, so my official time was like 1 hour 42 because what they do is you need to start your timer the moment you start the game and it only stops when the screen fades to black. The in-game timer doesn't count, which makes sense because I think if you die and you restart a checkpoint, I have a feeling it doesn't add up. It rewinds that time because my in-game time was 1 hour 31, but my overall run time was like 1 hour 41, and I died like 5 or 6 times. So I don't know. It's something.
Got to shave off those 15 minutes.
Got to shave off. But yeah, I actually really had fun. And just to touch on Stray again, I mean, we've spoken about this at length now. It's not a perfect game, but I'm floored by.
Not a perfect.
It's not a perfect game, but I'm floored by the fact that an indie team put together such a good-looking game. I can flaw it on, its puzzles and that they're not that difficult. It's not that challenging, but the fact that you get to walk around as a cat in a cyberpunk-esque world that just looks as good as it does, put together by a small studio, it's great.
And it runs incredibly well.
I can't tell you I've had any, like bugs or crashes or anything. It just works, which is really cool. So played that and enjoyed the heck out of it. Mouse Simulator. If you haven't played Stray, were your cats entertained by it, or did they not give a fuck? No, I didn't give a shit. I tried. I was like, listen to the cat meow, and they're like, yeah, like whatever. But yeah, if you've got a PlayStation or a PC, it's dirt cheap to access the game on both. It's only 5 to 7, 8 hours. 90 on PC. Yeah, and then like or you can get a month of PS plus for like the same price and enjoy Stray and other games if that's how you're inclined. Nice. Great little indie gem. Super glad. Awesome. I'm very glad you enjoyed it. Because I enjoyed it. And now, just like anything that has been enjoyed a lot, you're starting to see a lot of cynicism around it. 100%, But I think, like you said, it's not a perfect game. It's not revolutionary by any stretch either. I just think it's good. I just think it's a palatable, short experience that is fun start to finish that you don't get a lot of nowadays, actually. I think the one sentiment that really struck was that would people care about this game as much if you didn't play as a cat? No, of course not. And I'm like, yeah, probably not. But that doesn't matter. But the fact that this team thought there's a distinct lack of, real life cat games in the market, we're going to do one. That's also such a shit argument, though, because it's like, would you care as much about a game that is sort of like Uncharted but doesn't feature Nathan Drake? It's no, 100%. He's a big part of that game. No, but I think where they're coming from is more that the hype and the build-up of the game, I mean, it was all over Twitter that week because the cat's cute and cat owners are like, heck yes, this is a game for me. Would it be the same if it was, I don't know, a cartoon hamster. Like, I don't know.
Oh no,
maybe,
fair, but
maybe wouldn't hit as well.
I don't think it. I don't think it would have attracted as much launch attention. I think again, it's a smart marketing thing. It's like, yes, it's a cat. People love
genius,
cats. Cats
yeah.
are an internet thing, but at the same time, I mentioned this in my review. The game doesn't just use that as a crutch, and I think that's why it's so good. It's not like, oh, okay, yeah, this is a game where you could have swapped out the cat for any other thing and the game would have functioned the same. It's like, no, the game only works because you have the agility of a cat. Like, and that's what makes it cool.
But yeah, I think, on that front as well, the platforming, I mean, I know you hold X to string together jumps, but it just felt different being able to jump up to super high ledges and, stringing those things together.
Yeah,
it
felt real good. Real Assassin's Creed sort of like feeling navigation.
My favorite part of the game, my favorite animation of the cat, though, is jumping into the box and out of it. It's perfect.
Oh, it's so good.
Like
I love that some puzzles require that. Like you need to hop into a box and wait for it to move. Or
but
I'm just disappointed there was no Metal Gear sound like doing.
I still thought I need to like a Twitter post or something because it's Solid Snake but cat edition.
Yeah, I would love that. Someone needs to have like a fan art where it's like Solid Snake like picks up a box to like hide under, and as he picks it up, there's the stray cats underneath there.
Oh, you see, I need to prompt that on the AR.
Yeah, exactly. You see, I'm giving free. If someone is very good at art, please make this. And you listen to this because I would commission that right now.
100%.
100%.
So yeah, that's me with Stray. And then
lovely.
I thought to get another little short indie experience in, but this one's a lot shorter, if you play it once. But Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge, which came out. It's not that old. It's maybe like 1 or 2 months old.
Was it June? I think it was June. I think it was just after E3 or something like that.
So I just missed it because busy with other nonsense, and man, finally played it in. Let me tell you, that game is real good. It smacked me right in the childhood with that opening cinematic. I was like, oh my god,
it's so good.
This
man.
is
the music,
real good. That took me straight back to my childhood. And then
I did not skip that a few times when launching up the game. Like,
it's too good. But then the actual game, man, it's just packed with so much retro love and respect for this franchise. I mean, there's a lot of enemies and stuff. I was like, damn, like I vaguely remember that, from my childhood. Like I wouldn't have told you, oh, that's the name of this enemy or this super villain, but I saw them. I was like, oh my god, it's that person. Oh, that's.
I remember that guy. Yeah.
Yeah. It's got, it's a short experience because, playing from beginning to end is about 2 hours, I'd say. There's 16 levels. They all take like anywhere from 5 to 8 minutes each. Very bite-sized, which is cool. But I mean, you kind of incentivized to replay the game because there are, 7 total playable characters?
So it's the 4 turtles, Splinter, April, and then you unlock Casey Jones at the end. So you have 7. Yeah.
And you actually, there's an element of progression because you level up. You're not unlocking combos or anything, but you're getting some neat buffs. And I suppose you do get new abilities as you play. You level up, you get a bit of health, you can charge up more super attacks, that sort of thing. So yeah, you can replay it with the different characters. And it is just fun to jump into. So I was telling you, you played it mostly alone, I think you said.
Yeah, so I didn't play with anyone else. Yeah. I played it entirely alone.
I just thought there was an option to like find a party, and I thought this is never going to work. It's a small indie game. And I'm in South Africa, and obviously I'm going to pair up with like someone in America or Europe, whatever. But it worked. I must have played like the first 2 levels alone, and then in the overworld map, I was like, let me find a party. And for the rest of my playthrough, I was bouncing in and out of various parties, which is very cool.
Oh, that's neat. Okay.
Yeah, so I played a majority of the game with maybe 2 other people, so 3 people total. But
I think that's the right number to do.
Yeah,
I think 6 is just fucking chaos.
By the end, that fun of us, I was in a 6-person party, and there was just so much happening on that screen. So much happening
on screen, yeah.
It's good fun,
the boss arenas are small. Whenever they have a boss at the end of the level, they're like corner off the screen, and they're like, cool, you've got less space to work with than you used to.
Yeah.
geez, I can't imagine with 6 people actually. And that last boss is chaotic as it
It's
is.
super. There's so much happening on screen. It's hard to dodge all the shit going around.
Yeah, that one is very dependent on like dodges.
Yeah.
So hectic.
But yeah, I mean, this is the same studio that did is it Streets of Rage 4? Or am I getting them mixed up?
Yeah.
So I mean, I haven't played Streets of Rage 4, but just this game is the music, the animations, the gameplay. Like
this made me want to play Streets of Rage 4.
Yeah,
like because I gave Streets of Rage 4 a go, and I was like, I don't think I understand beat 'em ups because like they are technical and they're more like fighting games than anything else.
Yeah,
but like this one, this one you can't button mash your way through. At least I don't feel that way. Like you still have to. You have to be aware of the strategy you're chaining together. Yeah. And Streets of Rage 4, after enjoying this, I've just heard that it's like that to a slightly higher degree. So I'm like, okay, if I manage this, then I can
play Streets of Rage.
Streets of Rage 4.
It's actually very clever. I mean, again, I haven't played Streets of Rage 4, but there's a bit of variation of you're not just mashing buttons here. Like you have to take the time to do your taunt, to charge up your super attack, and then figure out when's the best time to use that, because when you use it, you can't get hit. So it can actually be used as a defensive maneuver of, oh God, I'm going to get hit. Let me just use this.
Do lots of air juggles.
Lots of,
unlock your specials of air juggles and stuff.
Throw enemies into the screen. It's a good time.
Oh, I love it. It's real fun. Yeah, throw enemies at other enemies to crowd control. It is very much that, and also like I guess learning all the different types of foot soldiers that you fight. There are some enemy types that I really did not like the stone soldiers that you fight near the end. Fuck those guys, man. Like they, especially when they throw so many of them at you and they don't move as much. So I did not enjoy those. I did like fighting the dinosaurs though. Real good.
Hilarious. I have to think, this took me back to the 90s of you could just have a show with the turtles and dinosaurs and it would just be so cool.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I didn't actually, it was like, as you said, like I forgot that was a part of like the turtles thing. Like I always remembered Shredder and what's it? Krang, the little brain in the robot
those are
body.
like the two main ones, and then the two lackeys you fight at the beginning. The Rhino,
Bebop and Rocksteady. Yeah, like I remembered those, but then like I totally forgot about the stone people, and when I saw them, I was like, oh right, yeah. And then the dinosaur people, I was like, oh right, yeah. There's like episodes of the show with that shit. Yeah, I remember that now. Yeah, it's pretty good. Pretty good. Krang, the voice of Krang at the end of the boss battle. It's the weirdest like read on a line. He's just like, you haven't heard the last of me, and it's like, what was that? Did you only have one take? Like, what's going on here? The animation I think is also spectacular. It just looks like, so good.
Yeah, it is like playing through the cartoon itself. It's so
but it's
smooth,
got this like
colorful
reverence for old pixel games, but it's so much higher res than those could ever be. Like it's real good.
Played in 2K goodness.
It's a nice variety of levels as well, I think.
Yeah. There are 3 or 4 of those typical like on rails levels where you not on rails, but you. And I'm always like, why do you put this in? You're like, I get it,
on like a hoverboard or on like a skateboard, or
like, just eliminate these from any game in future. It's okay. Just let us walk through the level. It's cool.
They always felt bad, and they're always like, I could never string combos together properly on those because it always felt like I wasn't hitting people correctly.
There was one level in particular where there was one enemy type that sort of flew around as a helicopter, like they're not in a helicopter, and the sense of distance. Like I know they had shadows underneath it, but it's so deceiving. I kept jumping and hitting. I'm like, I'm not connecting with these people. Like,
there was only one attack that connects with them. You have to do like a launcher attack. That's the only thing that hits them. I was like, which is stupid. But
like okay, but overall though,
I know exactly which one you're talking about. No, I did not enjoy that.
But
those levels suck. Yeah.
If you've got Game Pass, surprise, get this on PC and Xbox for your little subscription. Real good. I don't know. It is on other platforms, right? Is it on PlayStation? It must be.
I don't think so.
That would be a very neat Switch game as well. I mean, I wonder how.
I think it might be on Switch. Oh, yeah, it's on everything. Never mind.
Even on mobile with Netflix. You heard it here first.
It's Switch, PlayStation 4, Xbox, Linux, Xbox Cloud Gaming, and Windows.
This would be a really good Switch game. Like, don't get me wrong, it works great on all platforms, but the fact that the levels are 5 to 8 minutes long, you can finish in 2 hours, like, what a great on-the-go game.
How fucking banging is that final song, though, as well?
That whole soundtrack is just...
my God, it's so good.
It's too good, yeah.
And it's from the Wu-Tang Clan. Like,
oh, yes, sorry.
Song.
Yeah, I know exactly what song.
Good. Oh, my Lord. It's just like the most like, I don't know, serious take on being like, yeah, we're going to make a song about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Like, and be completely unironic about it. And it was real good. Real
it's
good.
Great. Cool. Well, that's all the shit we played this week. We actually filled up a good 40 minutes with Teletubbies and some games.
Teletubbies and Shredder's Revenge. And
love to see it.
Cool.
Let's get to games
Should we bounce then to game releases?
Yes.
Cool. Okay. We are going to look at, let's see, let me just get it up. We're looking at game releases from today, July 30th, all the way up to, can you believe it, August 5th. We're there. We're in August. Month 8 of 12. This is when the year starts escaping you.
Yeah, it just goes.
It just flies. There's quite a bit, actually, but none that I actually recognize. Genuinely not a single game on this list I've heard of in my life. So we've got The Mortuary Assistant.
Nice.
Cool. That sounds fun. Sorry, my page just jumped all the way back up to the top for no reason. Awesome. That's coming to PC on August 2nd. Then we've got Frogun. Is that like a gun that shoots froyo?
That's what I shoot myself with every morning.
Oh, dear God. You wake up bald and then you just hit yourself with that good fro gun.
Fro gun, you know it.
Lenska's like, wait, who are you? Why are you in my bed? And you're just like, oh, wait. And you just like got the fro back. It's me. She's like, oh, thank God.
Oh, thank goodness.
South of the Circle, coming to consoles and Switch and PC, August 3rd. Camp Canyonwood, Steam Early Access on PC, August 4th. Played Up, coming to PC. I bet Played Up is like a co-op game, sort of like Overcooked. I would put money on that. Yeah.
Or it's a baseball game. Yeah, you didn't think about that before you put your money down. Now you've just lost your life saving.
Hindsight coming to PC, Switch, and iOS.
What an apt follow-up game for hindsight. In hindsight.
Played Up. In hindsight, I shouldn't have bet all my money on what Played Up was.
My goodness.
Kokoro Clover Season 1? What?
Cool.
Okay. PC, Switch, August 4th. Hard West 2. Can't wait for the prequel, Soft West.
The sequel to Soft East.
Soft East. God. I was right there. I missed it. God damn it. Thunderbolt Collection coming to consoles and Switch. Turbo Golf Racing. So fast golf and you're racing.
Nice. On a golf cart. Okay. Probably. I'd put money on.
Early access and Xbox game preview. So PC and Xbox. And then Retreat to Ennen. I don't like that word. Ennen.
What a weird word. Sure. Yeah, that's a random week.
That's the releases for the week. But I mean, we've got quite a bunch of stuff coming this one. We've got 2 Point Campus.
We have Cult of the Lamb. I did not know that it's out.
Hell yeah, Cult of the Lamb. Very, very keen on that. That's the next week. Rumbleverse. That's that free-to-play wrestling battle royale, which looks super fun. You can suplex people off like skyscrapers.
Actually, exactly what you're talking about.
Looks pretty cool.
Marvel's Spider-Man. We've got
remastered on
Peter
PC.
Parker Simulator on PC.
Web Boy, as some would say. F1 Manager 2022. Let's go.
Nice.
Midnight Fight Express looks super cool. That's
towards the end.
That's that like it's like a 3D brawler, like sort of like what Sifu looked like almost, but this is from like an isometric perspective. It looks fucking cool.
That's cool.
Yeah. So
take my money.
There's stuff coming. There's stuff
coming. Cool. That's your games coming out in the next week and August.
Indeed.
Can't believe August.
This also means we are just over a month away from Splatoon 3. I'm very hyped.
Damn, Daniel.
Splatoon 3. Very, very
back out of them vans.
3. We need to play the co-op of Splatoon 3.
God damn. We'll see. Still haven't played a single Splatoon in my whole life.
Oh my god. Fuck. Splatoon 2 is so good. Its campaign is so good. It's so good.
I need to see if I can pick it up on special at some point.
Yeah. Or I can just give you the cartridge and you can play the
do you have the cartridge?
Campaign. I think so. Or did I buy it digitally? I can't remember. But it's fucking great. It's real. It's like what if you got like a Portal like campaign, but it was Splatoon?
Nice.
Very good.
That sounds great.
Yeah. Very good. Should we move on to gaming news?
I'm assuming we are going to headline with
GTA 6. Let's go.
Set in Vice City includes a female star, which is very cool.
Yeah, so this there was quite a large report by way of, oh my god, autoplaying is crazy. So I just opened up a website and it autoplayed my earballs out. Like, so there was a big report by way of Jason Schreier at Bloomberg, kind of going through these sort of big transformations that have been taking place at Rockstar in terms of like studio culture and making it a better place to work by the sounds of it. So if you're unaware, the founders of Rockstar have kind of left, like Dan Houser and...
I didn't know that.
Forgot the name, yeah. They've kind of like stepped back from day-to-day Rockstar. I'm pretty sure they're still well involved with like earning money from Rockstar, if that makes sense. But they're
on the board.
Really,
they appear, they nod their head and they leave.
Like Dan Houser was... I think it was Dan Houser. He was like one of the main writers on all of the GTAs and Red Dead Redemptions. And there were a lot of reports on how his sort of creative process would clash with like how games get made. Like he would do just random, significant, massive rewrites in the middle of nowhere and like demand that these things now be like cutscened and changed. And so and you know, coming from an age where game development was sort of like a Rockstar frat boy culture, that sort of culture never went away. So it seems that has kind of started being cleaned up. Yeah. For example, there was a mode called Cops and Crooks that was a twist on, you know, the children's game, like Cops and Robbers, that was coming to GTA Online, and it was like axed because of the murder of George Floyd in 2020. So, you know, those sorts of decisions are being made now with people who actually care about those decisions being made. So, yeah, it seems like the culture there is much better. People are excited to be working there. It's not one where crunch is like constant. And that can only mean good things for GTA probably 6. The development of GTA 6, which is mentioned in here as well.
Yeah, so I haven't read this report, but it's quite a nice change of pace to read something that isn't like yet another company with a shit culture. Like I don't know when last I read something where it's like, oh yeah, the culture's actually been flipped around. I mean, look, I don't work there, I don't know, but it's nice to see that apparently it's, you know, it's and like Rockstar, that's quite a place. It's not some small indie studio. It's like, it's Rockstar. It's quite a huge place to try enact this sort of change. So yeah, good on them.
Oh, absolutely. And I think it shows that if Rockstar can really put their minds to doing this, and it turns out that it's not only making the process of making their games better, but it's also leading to employees actually being motivated to work, you know, there, then there is no reason why other bigger companies can't do this. Like the mantra has always been, yes, this is a problem within AAA development, but this is how AAA games are made.
Yeah.
So if GTA 6 comes out and becomes the next big fucking, I mean, GTA 5 is like the best selling thing of all time. Like if that happens for GTA 6 and it was made under sustainable work conditions, there is literally no excuse for that not being a industry standard. In my view, maybe Rockstar has the affordance to kind of like do it because they have tons of money, but still, it's a good example to set, I think, because when you take into account I'm just reading through the Bloomberg article here. In October 2018, shortly before the release of Red Dead Redemption 2, Dan Houser, one of Rockstar's founders, said his team had been working 100-hour weeks to finish the game, and he said that as sort of like a proud thing. And the comments, which Houser later walked back, were the tipping point for many employees. He left in 2019. So 100-hour weeks, that's fucking insane. I'm sorry.
Crazy.
That's like if you're working 7 days a week.
That's more than 12 hours a day, 7 days a week.
It's more than 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's way more, actually, because that only gets you to 82. So you're still short 18. 18 divided by 7 is still another 3 hours or so. You're working like 14, 15 hours a day, 7 days a week. No, there's no video game on earth that is worth that. I'm sorry. So
yeah, that's insane.
Yeah. So it's cool that Rockstar seems to be moving along with this. Obviously, through the report, we got word that obviously GTA 6 is the next game that the studio is working on. It is apparently still quite a while away. Some developers said that it is at least 2 years away from release.
Yeah, if not longer.
Knowing Rockstar, that's probably means another 3 to 4. But it is going to have a pair of leading characters in a story influenced by bank robbers Bonnie and Clyde. And one of the protagonists will be a Latino woman, which will be the first playable woman character, or Latino woman, sorry. First playable woman character in a GTA.
Yeah, I was going to say,
awesome.
it's
cool.
Amazing that we're on GTA 6 and only now. It just happened. Yeah.
And of course, that sparked the most predictable response from people being like, oh, GTA is going woke now. It's like,
God.
Okay. If your bar for things being woke is playable female character, just check yourself in the mirror.
Also, you were
birthed by a woman. How cringe.
You've also had
Timur Hussein tweeted
5 whole games featuring not leading women. So,
I mean, in 5 you had 3. You had 3 men.
3, yeah. I don't know.
I mean, it's
just a silly take.
I think Timur Hussein from GameSpot had the best sort of counter tweets to this. He was just like, what are people's aversion to women in general? Like, did you not grow up with a woman figure in your life? Why do you just hate it so much? I don't know. It's
bizarre. Absolutely bizarre. Yep, cool. Good on Rockstar. Very keen to see how. I'm not a GTA fan. I say that. I love the old GTAs. I played San Andreas and all of that, but then GTA 4 and 5 were just misses for me. Just never got into them.
Yeah, I mean, I feel the same. I don't think I've actually enjoyed a Rockstar game since Red Dead Redemption. And that's more just down to the structure of their games. I don't find their open worlds that engaging, and I find the missions not that engaging either. So,
well, all that said, I'd be very curious to know what a modern day GTA is, because GTA 5 came out so long ago.
Sure. What was it? 2013?
2013, I think.
GTA.
So, I mean, since then, the open world formula has been pushed by a lot of games in different ways. So, let's see what they come up with.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a big revolution in that respect. I mean, a lot of people will point to Red Dead Redemption 2 and say that it's one of the most captivating open world games they've ever played. And I think that comes down to just the sheer detail. that world brings, and the way you can get lost in that fantasy.
You'll get gamers who want to do every tiny thing, and they get gamers like me who I appreciate it, but I don't want to have to get too involved in the systems.
I appreciate the level of detail and the systems heavy nature of the game. I just don't think it's that fun to play.
Yeah.
And that's me. There are a lot of people who think that is one of the best games ever made, and more power to them. But that is not the sort of open world that engages me. So
I
don't know. We'll see. GTA 6. I'm almost certain GTA 6 will come out. I'll play it and be like, "Yep, that's a GTA," and that'll be it. So yeah,
Place your bets.
but I'm almost certain that thing is going to sell like fucking. People talking shit now, like, "Oh, go work, get broke." This game's going to make a fucking ton of money because at the end of the day,
My God,
the people that do not live online are the majority,
yeah.
and they
It's
see
also
GTA.
it's
Boom,
a Rockstar
done.
game. It's gonna just make so much money.
Yep.
In other news, shall we talk about the PS5 updates, which is pretty cool. So PS5 will get folders and support for 1440p displays, which is really cool because I just got myself a 1440p display.
But you are exactly the reason why this was so important. So at launch, the Xbox supported 1080p, 1440p, 4K, and Sony made a big deal being like, we are not supporting 1440p because we don't think it's like a much used resolution. Like a lot of people, especially now in the day and age of streaming, they play games on monitors, not TVs, because you are streaming, at a desk or whatever. Yes, TVs don't use 1440p. They are either 1080p or 4K. But there are other beneficial reasons for using 1440p. Aside from just having, a monitor of that resolution.
Good middle ground. I mean,
it's a good middle ground. Like you could set a PS4 to 1440p and have it scale up to 4K from there, as opposed to having to use 1080p, for instance. But the biggest use case is monitors. Like you've been playing a PS5 on a monitor since you got it because you don't use it on a TV.
Don't have a TV, yeah.
And because you don't have a 4K display, you've actually been playing the PS5 at 1080p blown up to 1440p on your monitor. And it's a worse experience. Like, you will absolutely see as soon as this. So firstly, this update's early in beta. So it's early if you're on the beta ring or whatever. And it probably will come in a couple of weeks to everyone. But like your dashboard will be a lot sharper. Your games will be a lot sharper because they're now recognizing that, I don't have to render at 1080p anymore, or I can render at this and downsample to 1440p for a sharper image. Or, previously your 4K games, like they were detecting that you were connected to a 1080p display. So they were downsampling to 1080p, which is fine. They would look sharp then, but then upscaled again to 1440p, which blows out like any sort of detail that they had.
Yeah.
So I think now with you're going to see a remarkable difference in the sort of quality, your image quality. A bummer is that it doesn't have VRR or variable refresh rate, which might seem super strange because it's offered at 1080p and 4K. The thing to note there is that Sony only implements the HDMI forum VRR. They don't implement like AMD FreeSync, which Microsoft does. They do both. Which means that you could probably use FreeSync on your monitor with an Xbox, but not a PS5. HDMI 4 VR only works on HDMI 2.1. And to my knowledge, there isn't a single 1440p HDMI 2.1 display. All of those are 4K monitors. So there is literally no reason for them to support this. So
Not yet.
Not yet. I mean, at the end of the day, even if it was supported, it wouldn't work on your monitor because you're plugging in and using HDMI 2.0. So it wouldn't work. So yeah, that's just one concession. What is up with these folders? I didn't really read much into them.
You can like literally make folders and just plonk your games into them. So if you're looking at this thumbnail, it's like you've got a now playing folder, then a folder called My Favorite Action Games, and it's this person's filed these games accordingly. Which I read somewhere
that the folders can't be put on your home screen though.
Oh, well then that I don't know. I can't say strange. I really give two shits about folders because at no point am I storing more than like I'll have like maybe 5 to 8 games in my PlayStation at any time, but I'm only playing like 1 or 2 of them. So I guess this is for those people who have like, expanded their PlayStation 5s and just love having access to the library like there, and they want it folded up.
Yeah, I think it's cool.
It's cool, but not
definitely
for
helps.
me.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like on the Switch. I like having the fold, but I like having them on the main screen.
You can do
it's strange
folders
that
on Switch.
Yeah,
I did not know that because
I swear to God, you can.
I only play 1 or 2 games on my Switch at a time, so
Nintendo Switch, yeah, their folders on Switch. It actually only came out earlier this year.
PlayStation, like, oh my God, Nintendo can't be ahead of us.
It's on the 22nd of March, yeah. Jesus.
God damn. Well, that's cool. So you expect to see an official rollout in the next few weeks or months.
Yeah.
Keeping with PlayStation news, PlayStation Plus for August is real lit. This was leaked initially at the beginning of the week, but it has since been confirmed that the lineup for August is Yakuza. Is it 7? Oh, just Yakuza Like a Dragon.
Yeah, but it is 7.
It's 7,
essentially. Yeah.
Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2, and Little Nightmares.
Which is 3 very good games.
Pretty banging lineup. Like, I've played Little Nightmares real good. I've played Tony Hawk's real good. I'd love to play Yakuza Like a Dragon. So there we go.
And for Tony Hawk's and Yakuza, that is
PS4 and PS5.
PS4 and PS5. So you're getting the good versions of those as well. And this is on the PS Plus Essential tier, so it's the lowest tier. Essentially what PlayStation Plus just used to be.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's awesome. Also part of that, the tier above, which is Deluxe. I don't know what the highest tier is. Premium?
Plus.
that one will eventually get all 8 Yakuza games over the next couple of months.
Yes, yeah.
So that's pretty cool as well.
It's neat.
I think Like a Dragon's still on Game Pass. So that just means you really have no excuse not to play what is considered one of the best JRPGs in a very long time. So yeah.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Cool.
What
do you
we should stick with
next?
Sony then still, because this is actually tangentially related to Sony. The Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake is reportedly delayed indefinitely. So if you recall, this was announced last year during a PS5 showcase. It was announced as a PS5 and PC exclusive at the time. So Aspire, who have done a lot of work with Knights of the Old Republic in the past, bringing like the originals to new platforms like mobile, they were pegged as the developer for this from the ground up remake of probably one of the best RPGs ever created, in my view, by BioWare game. But it has now apparently been delayed indefinitely, according to another report from Bloomberg. The studio has reportedly fired 2 of its directors, and another studio was brought in to help with the project. That would be Saber Interactive. So it seems like progress on the game was being made. They did like a vertical slice to show off to, I don't know, executives at the studio or stakeholders or whatever, and that the demo was very, very poorly received. And that because of that, the project is now on pause. And that the remake, which was originally, according to people in the studio, being rushed out the door to release this year, which a lot of developers say was insane. It's now reported that the remake might not arrive till 2025, if ever. Because, it's now, delayed indefinitely. The report says that Aspire is basically looking for other projects to take on as they figure out how to restart development on this.
Shit. Hectic.
So, Aspire is owned by the Embracer Group. And there is word that maybe Saber Interactive, another studio within Embracer Group, might actually just take over development of this altogether. So
I don't know what happened though, that these two people were fired.
Yeah, maybe they were just like, hey, what the fuck have you guys been doing for the past year?
Yeah. So it says Brad Prince, so design director Brad Prince and art director Jason Marner were both fired from Aspire after the studio showed a gameplay preview of the
How bad was that vertical slice?
Remake to Lucasfilm and Sony. Yeah, holy shit. They're like, nah, fam. Get out of here.
Yeah, Lucasfilm and Sony are like, the fuck is this? Like, that's... this makes me very sad because, like I said, this game is fucking awesome. If you've never played Knights of the Old Republic and you have somehow missed the story beats, like, I feel like everyone knows it's sort of like the whole Darth Vader is your Luke's father type of thing. Like everyone is born just with that knowledge now. I feel like some of the twists in the story are just
know the
known.
twist. Do not tell me.
You need to play this game because this game, I played it again recently. It holds up. It is phenomenal. Like really
I actually
good.
have it on Steam.
I was so keen on a remake on this, and now I'm just sad. So,
sad face. Wah face.
It's a really good game. It's a turn-based RPG. So,
which is weird. You'd think that it'd never work with Star Wars, but it does.
I mean, did you ever play Dragon Age?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, it's sort of like that. It's like you get into battle and then you're assigning commands to. Yeah, and it's all playing out in real time. But no,
go down.
It's good. It's really
Last
good.
pieces of news. Hey, that Meta Quest 2. Do you want one? It's getting $100 price. Like, I love this. I saw.
Eurogamer is consistently good.
They never miss.
Very, very good. Meta, formerly known as Facebook, if you haven't been paying attention, they're announcing that starting in August, their Meta Quest 2 VR headset, which is the standalone, probably arguably the best headset in the world, considering its price and performance, it's being increased in price by $100. So both the 128 gig and the 256 gig versions are increasing from 300 and 400 to 400 and 500 respectively.
So their reasoning, the statement says
33% increase.
Yeah, 33% increase. The statement says Meta's statement blames the costs to make and ship our products, which have been on the rise.
Bullshit.
That's look,
not true.
I get it. Things go up, but they haven't gone up by 33%.
Also the Quest
Good
2
Lord.
was never increased in price during the 2 years where supply constraints actually hammered people's bottom line. We are now getting back to a place where things are far more sustainable. You're seeing more stock of electronics in general. Like the whole deluge of not being able to buy PS5 seems to be finally behind us. Sure. And now Meta's saying, oh no, now it's expensive. It's not. It's, to me, Meta had their earnings earlier this week. They are pumping a ridiculous amount of money into their metaverse or Reality Labs, their like little portion of the company that's all to do with VR and the metaverse. They posted $2.8 billion operating loss, which means, so an operating loss doesn't mean they just set that money on fire. They are investing into something, but their revenue is so low in that sector that it's very difficult for shareholders to see the value in that. Because they do not know what all this money is being burnt on, while also the VR stuff that they are selling isn't selling as well. This to me is just we need to get revenue up.
I do like the vision of Mark Zuckerberg literally just igniting $1.9 billion.
I mean, you could probably do that. Yeah, you could probably do that. Just, like going all Joker on it, just with a huge stack of cash and gasoline and just,
Good Lord.
So basically, if you want to, well, by the time you hear this, the price increase would have gone into effect, so you're too late. But yeah.
Do you get the Meta Quest locally? Is it available? No. Okay.
You can purchase it from Amazon, though.
So I was going to say, you could maybe get away if there are local distributors, because it would maybe take a while for that price to reflect here. Yeah. Sad face.
It's a great headset. I know a couple of people with it. I've still got my Quest 1. I think they're the best VR headsets out there. But yeah, listen, if this really is coming down to the cost to make and ship products, what does it say for PSVR 2?
Well, that actually is mentioned here. So I'm just reading verbatim from this article. Even with these pricing changes, Meta Quest 2 continues to be the most affordable VR headset with a comparable feature set on the market. It added, which is true for now, though may well change with the upcoming arrival of PlayStation VR 2.
See, I don't think that's true.
Yeah, really. which doesn't, you can't really compare the two, because for PSVR 2 you need a PS5, which is already a cost
there.
of $399 or $499.
The PS5 is already, even with this price increase, $100 more than a Quest 2. So yeah, and sure, getting the most out of the Quest 2 would also benefit from having a powerful PC. But I think anyone hoping for PSVR 2 to come to come out at anything below $400 is going to be
It's
disappointing.
making some good stuff.
like $300 would be great. $300 would be an incredible buy this now price. But if I think about the components that are going into PSVR 2, it's like inside out tracking. You've got like really fancy OLED lenses in there. Like it is head and shoulders above the hardware that's in the Quest 2. Obviously minus the processing power that's required. It is just a pass-through headset. But like it's got eye tracking, it's got this and that. Like Sony is trying to make a very, very, very good VR headset, and that's not cheap.
That's not going to be cheap.
Yeah.
Actually, kind of cool that just on that thing that PSVR 1 was enough of a success for them to continue investing in it, which is cool because I remember when PSVR came out, it was like,
that was also $400.
Yeah, but it was this period of like, oh my God, there's so much VR stuff on the market.
Yeah.
Is it going to stick this time? And it seems to have stuck. So
and that VR experience was janky as fuck. But the thing that got people then was it was the cheapest on the market because your Oculus Rift at the time was $600.
Yeah.
And your Vive, HTC Vive was like $1,000. So like PSVR sold because yes, it was the worst VR headset out there, but it was by far the cheapest. And for a console that had sold like tons of money. So, tons of units. So yeah. Tons of money.
PlayStation's so good that they sell money to
they sell money to people. You give them $500, they give you $400, and you're like
wow.
What a deal.
So it says our money's going up by $100 because the cost of shipping it is too much. Like I can't believe this.
Of course that makes sense. Yes.
Last piece of news for this week: Eidos Montreal founder slams decline of Square Enix's Western studios as train wreck in slow motion. And discusses rumors of Square Enix Sony buyouts.
Yeah, it's a bit weird. It's so Stéphane D'Ostu, I don't know French name. He was founder and former boss of Eidos Montreal. He basically has just given his take on the whole like history with Square Enix and how all these studios like Crystal and Eidos all got sold for what seemed like a ridiculously low sum. So he gave a lengthy interview to gamesindustry.biz where he criticized Square Enix's past management of the various Western studios and suggested that the recent sale could have been motivated by a desire to court a buyout by PlayStation. He says, I left because things were missing at head office. Pre-Square Enix, Eidos had a great tradition of development teams, but they don't have superior knowledge on how to sell their games. That was quite clear. Said it was clear that we had great IPs that were sleeping on the shelf. Legacy of Kain that was discussed, but wasn't as strong as Deus Ex and Thief. With Thief, we did our best and we struggled, and that's life in the development of games. We don't hit it off all the time, and we were close, just missing some finishing touches. He basically He's basically saying that yes, the development of games could have been better, but at the same time, like Square Enix just did not know how to sell these games. Like they did not understand how to show them. They did not understand how to market them, and that just made it worse. Yeah,
they're still kind of in that same boat, though.
Yeah, true. I
think of Forspoken, I'm still like, yeah, what's going on? And then Square Enix is like, hey, we're going to kind of focus on NFTs moving forward. It's like, really? What's going on over there?
Yeah.
What's going on over there?
I mean, they know how to sell Final Fantasy and they know how to sell classic games because people love that nostalgia. But beyond that, I'm not sure, what they're really good at, after that. So, yeah. I mean, he mentions the rumors of Sony, but this is a bit weird because it could be that he's heard of it because he heard of it on the internet, or he heard of it from people still at the studio. It's not really clear, but either way, that sale hasn't gone through, and it doesn't seem like that. Maybe they sold off Crystal and Eidos to make themselves more attractive, and then Sony was like, "Nah, we good," or maybe it's still happening. You never know. These sorts of things seem to just like.
I do love it because $300 million is no small figure.
No.
But it says, like quoting from the article, a figure widely seen in the industry as a fire sale deal.
I mean, it
is.
It's
It
crazy.
is, but I'm still like, that's still a lot of money. Holy shit.
It's a lot of money, but it's like for all the IP and for like all the studios, all the employees, like that seems like
it's nothing,
Nothing. So we'll see if Embracer Group is any better, but if we just backpedal to what's just happened with Knights of the Old Republic, sure, good luck to Eidos and Crystal. Embracer seems like so fucking hands off with its billions of studios that it owns that I don't think they're going to get the guidance that they desired from Square Enix there. So yeah.
On that note, that's gaming news.
That is gaming news, which means we can pivot on to questions. If you want to have a question asked and answered on Checkpoint Chat, you can email us checkpointchatpodcast@gmail.com. You can also find us on all of our social platforms at Checkpoint Chat. What is on the docket for this week?
We have one question on Twitter from Megs, who asks, in recent memory, have you played an old game that was critically panned by the critics and fans, but you disagree with it? For me, okay, Megs, it's Duke Nukem Forever, the Doctor, the Clone Me DLC, good set pieces galore. Not played.
Wait, Duke Nukem and?
The DLC that came with it.
Okay.
I didn't even know it had DLC.
I mean, yeah, same. I'm also glad you enjoyed it, but that game's still fucking terrible.
I've never played it. No desire to.
It's a bad game. It's a bad shooter. It doesn't feel good. It's not funny. It's a bad game.
Good lord,
a really bad game. Like there's
some damning statements.
I would never in my wildest dreams ever go back and play that game. Like ever. I just do not like it at all.
What is a game that you have played, if you have any, that was panned by critics that you're like, yeah, that's actually not that bad?
Oh, well, so it's not something I played recently, but it's something I played at the time and thought was pretty good despite the critical reception, and that's Lollipop Chainsaw. It's a completely serviceable character action game that is completely ridiculous, and I think it's cool. It's got cool style, really good music, just stupid pubescent teen energy to it. It stands on its own as something that's unique in that regard. And yes, it got fucking panned critically. Like I think IGN gave that game a 4 out of 10. Yeah.
And it's getting a remake.
It's getting a remake because hey, there's like a cult following for the game.
Yay.
Money as well. Yeah. But I think it's a pretty decent game. I don't think it's good. I don't think it's as terrible as people make it out to be. Which I guess maybe that's what Migs thinks about Duke Nukem, which is fair. I still think it's a shit game though. So.
Well, it's funny because my answer to this is Resident Evil 6 because...
no.
Have you played Resident Evil 6? Don't pan it.
Yes, it's terrible. It's absolutely awful.
It's one of those things I played because it came out and to my surprise, big Resident Evil fan, I saw the reviews, I was like, oh, this doesn't look like it's good. I picked it up on a sale years later and I was like, it's not good. But it's not good. It's not as bad as people made it out to be.
I don't know.
That Leon chapter is still real good. That's like proper.
The Wesker Sun chapter is proper
that's where they lost me. But as far remove it as a Resident Evil game. Just pretend it's a third-person co-op shooter. I was like, it's actually good fun.
I mean that's why I still somewhat enjoy Resident. Well, I have fond memories of Resident Evil 5. I haven't played it in a very long time, but like I played that co-op, and that's why that game was fun to me.
I've played the game co-op so many times, and it was the bee's knees. It was good fun.
But if you look at all the mainline Resident Evils, 6 is like hands down the worst. Like it's not even close.
I won't argue that at all. Like I agree, it's probably the weakest entry, but I don't think it's as bad as people made it out to be. I'll say that. On that same note, I finished the Resident Evil show this week, and if you've not watched,
speaking of things critically panned,
although that thing, so Netflix has a Resident Evil show. Okay, if you didn't know, and this pisses me off. It's just
beautiful
called
train wreck.
It's just called Resident Evil. Why? I don't know. Give it a something. that weirdly before it launched, there was some positive reviews. I was like, oh damn. Okay, like
GameSpot gave it a 9 out of 10.
IGN were like, damn,
okay.
the best video game adaptation of Resident Evil. I was like,
no, that was GameSpot.
Oh, was that GameSpot? Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, that's some high praise. I watched it. I can confirm that the writing is actual doo-doo water. Like
it's really bad.
Actual garbage. It's really bad, but fuck, I love it.
Yeah, but this is the thing. Like it is so bad, but good at the same time. Like when you hear a phrase like it is the best adaptation yet of Resident Evil in a series, that's actually true.
That's actually true.
Like
100%.
that's accurate because those movies are not like.
But even
like the movies are not the well, there's only been the movies and they're all kind of shit. This one is like, yeah, Resident Evil had fucking zombie spiders and zombie insects, and also remember the puzzles? Like it has all of that shit in here. Like it's cool.
But that's the thing with this is that I get it. People go, the writing's bad. I'm like,
bad.
Has Resident Evil ever had good writing? Ever?
Have you played a Resident Evil?
No,
yeah,
name
exactly.
one game where the writing you don't turn around to people go like, damn, the zombie shooting was okay, but the story was just stellar. Like there's not a single stellar story.
And that started with the first one. Like the story in the first Resident Evil is complete nonsense.
Exactly. So when people say like, oh, the show's writing's bad, I'm like, I know, like the dialogue is bad, but if you're expecting like an Oscar winning or an Emmy winning story, like, sorry, you set your expectations way too high. If you go knowing it's going to be Resident Evil nonsense, I think you'll have a good time, which is what I did.
Yeah. It's good.
There were moments I just laughed. Cool. It's like, of course they did that. Of course it's this.
I mean, there are some stupid as hell moments.
There really are.
I think that comes down to the writing, but like the action's pretty cool. It looks pretty great. It's really, really gory, and it like takes the best parts of a bunch of different Resident Evils and puts them in logical places. It has fun. I think it has a lot of fun with itself. Like that Umbrella agent that is hunting Jade for the good first half of the series. He's fucking hilarious. I think he's great. That was
like just the typical like bad guy where it laughs at people dying. I'm like, no one does that, but it's Resident
cool
Evil.
To everything.
Yes, like, so I'm like, this is so
complete
Resident
nonsense.
Evil.
Yeah, I will say the Lance Reddick as Wesker. What an inspired choice. Love it.
Oh my god,
that
Albert Wesker explanation. It's the pinnacle of ridiculousness, and I'm here for it. It's so good.
It's wow. It's truly something.
It's great.
I would both recommend and not recommend watching it. Like, it's very difficult.
The thing is, like, it's one of those shows where I can't even say watch the first 2 episodes. I'm like, you have to watch the whole thing.
You have to watch the whole thing.
You have to.
I could not stop watching it, but after every episode, I was like, what the fuck is that? This is so stupid.
It's so dumb.
But when it finished, I was like, God, I wish there was more.
Yeah, it's just some... Brownie points as well, if you didn't know, it's set in South Africa, at least half of it. So
in Cape Town. Lots of South African accents in this show.
Get some y'all butts. Really good.
Really something, that show.
I love it. That's it.
Yeah, that's questions. If you want to send us a question for next week, you can email us checkpointchatpodcast@gmail.com, or you can find us on social media at Checkpoint Chat. And that brings us to the end of episode 195 of Checkpoint Chat.
Nice.
As always, thank you so much for listening. We appreciate the support. We love you. And we will be back next week, as always, for another episode of this Teletubby mess.
Oh, come on. That is one of the best discussions we've ever had.
Oh, yeah. It's a great opening. Real solid first 10 minutes of this podcast. Really enjoyed it.
Nice.
Thank you so much. We'll see you next week. Okay, bye.
Goodbye.